Hi everybody, I'm Shane Ireland.
I'm Sykes Wilford.
Welcome to another episode of All Pipes Considered. Today we're talking about something very special, not just the pipes that are in front of us, but the beginning of a year-long celebration of SmokingPipes.com's 25th anniversary. So Sykes, why don't you take us back, for those who may not be aware, a brief history of the company, where it got started, how we've suddenly gotten to 25 years, it fees like.
I don't know how we actually got to 25 years, but I can...
Quarter century. It's kind of crazy.
It's crazy. I also feel old.
I mean, I'm not feeling young, if that helps, but I mean, I've only been here for 10 of those years, coming up on 11, and that they flew by. So much has changed. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So real quick, to celebrate the 25th anniversary and to give us a tiny bit of a history of the company and where it's come, where it started, tell us.
Sure. So I was a student in Nashville, and I was working part-time at a shop that is now gone called Ellison Place Pipe and Tobacco. And I had a job there because they hired me and no one else would. And I needed a part-time job when I was in school. And I fell in love head over heels with pipes. And at the same time, this was all in like 98, 1999, the internet was going to change everything. And of course it has, just not in any of the ways we anticipated in those days. And I thought, well, hey, wouldn't it be cool to sell pipes on the internet? And so by the middle of 2000, I started hatching this this plan in like late 99, beginning of 2000. By the middle of 2000, I was laying down the framework for Smoking Pipes. And in October, November of 2000, we sold our first pipe. And that was all in Nashville. And then we moved to South Carolina at the beginning of 2003.
I should have maybe asked you this a very long time ago. What was the first smoking pipe sold?
Good Lord, I don't know.
We will find that out, because I'm curious now.
I'm going to track that down now.
Yeah. I'm not sure we'd be able to just pull it from like what I have access to.
No, the records we have only go back to 2001.
Exactly.
And there's just like a little gap that we don't have.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know.
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
It would be fun.
So, pivoting a little bit to this specifically, in thinking about how we wanted to celebrate the 25th anniversary, one of the most immediate and logical places to start was with Savinelli.
Oh, yes.
Savinelli's been a part of our company's history for a very long time, and even before we represented them in the U.S. as their distributor, a part of pipe smoking history for a very long time as well. This project, specifically to celebrate our 25th anniversary with Savinelli, you guys started talking about that about a year ago, right?
Yes, it was January of last year. That I raised this as a project. And Savinelli is a really important relationship for me. I'm very close to that factory. I'm very close to the management of that factory. It's in many respects like our deepest, longest partnership with another company. And so kicking this off with them was a logical choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
The plan for the 25th anniversary is that we were going to celebrate with partnerships with a variety of pipe makers and other things. Much like our 20th anniversary, there will be ongoing releases and projects throughout the year to celebrate. Yes. So this represents the first of a series of projects of an indeterminate, at this point, number. We still don't have it totally pinned down.
That's part of the fun, though, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Fortunately, it's January.
Yep.
We got time.
Yep.
But we've been sort of lining these things up and organizing them for this whole year to celebrate our 25th anniversary. And we've had a lot of partners in the industry that we're really close with participate, and we're excited. And of course, Savinelli was the first. So I started talking with them in January of last year when I visited them. I'm there next week. Typically, I go in late January, and we started looking at our options. And I really love silver on pipes. And Savinelli's silverwork is they don't do it nearly as much as, say, Peterson.
Sure.
And it's very different from Peterson's in terms of shape and aesthetic and style.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do something with silver, and I wanted a visually very Savinelli kind of shape, but not something in the regular shape chart.
Sure, yeah, but still the classic sensibilities, which I think, in my opinion, differ from the sort of English shape chart and the Irish classics and all the other stuff we see. I mean, this is a good example of that, but outside of the very unique Savinelli shapes, like the 320 KS and those similar models, their takes on classics are elegant, lithe, very trim, very elegant, I think is the best way I can put it.
Yeah. And I'm particularly fond of Savinelli shapes with thinner shanks.
Exactly.
And sort of a more streamlined, lithe, to use your language, profile. And I think this bent billiard, this long shank bent billiard, is a really nice example of that.
Yeah, it really is. Back to the silver.
Back to the silver. There's silver army mounts, and we did the Smokingpipes red push stems. And they mounted a Smokingpipes logo rondelle in silver on the silver mounts.
Yeah. God, that turned out so nice. I also we'll talk about the finishes and the grading of the bowls a little bit, because it's also interesting, like the quality of these bowls is very high. The finishes that they've paired, or that we've chosen to pair with the Smokingpipes red stem too, I think are also very smart. Like the combinations here look great. It's a little bit of a pop of color. Again, the Smokingpipes red, just another sort of tribute to us as a company and one of our signature sort of trademarks. But I also am just very fond of how the stains on these three options, broken up by the silver mount, complement the red stem very well. So once you guys decided...
Compositionally very nice.
Compositionally very nice. Once you guys decided what the shape was going to be, the silverwork, the stem, tell me about the bowls.
So...
The grading, the quality.
The grading, the quality. So we spent a bunch of time working in the factory, developing this, looking at bowls, looking at grades, thinking about what we wanted to do. And we wanted to use very nice bowls for this project. We were using silver, not... when I'm conceiving of, or when you and I are conceiving of this as a 25th anniversary project from various manufacturers, we're trying to do different run sizes and also different price levels, so lots of people can participate. And there's sort of enthusiasm across the board. But for this, partly because I was sort of starting with silver as an idea, I wanted to do something special with Savinelli. And so we have very high quality bowls.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Like nearly perfect straight grain on that natural right there.
That is a crazy good example. Even the darker stain ones,
the other two are just as good.
Absolutely. I mean, to end up with a sandblast like this, you do have to have nearly perfect straight grain.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. You need consistent graining. It needs to be vertical.
Yep. And even the sort of flame, more flame options here of this like sort of medium stain, I mean, they look fantastic. There's a nice bit of contrast. And yeah, I mean, this doesn't mean anything, but it's still something as a pipe smoker and a collector that I like. You can even see the grain inside the chambers here as being like very nice. Yeah. I mean, also well-cured briar, very lightweight in general. Some of that is the design itself, being very elegant and very trim. But I think these are going to be workhorse smokers.
And that's one of the things I love about Savinelli is like, I have a bunch of Savinelli pipes, and they're just sort of my workhorse day in, day out. Smoke them all the time.
Group size here, I think it's probably large group 3, group 4 territory. Yeah. Again, super lightweight, especially with that bend. These are clenchers, and they're pretty ones at that. So, again, sourcing the level of quality of bowls that you were looking for, you have to turn a hell of a lot of them to yield this level of quality in a single shape. So because of that, this is an extremely limited release. 75 pieces total, and between the three finishes, there's only 11 naturals. There's only 29 of the Burgundy Smooth and only 35 of the Sandblasted.
That's correct.
So again, extremely limited, but that's the way it goes when you want grain like this.
So we're really excited to bring our first offering of our 25th anniversary special collection to you with these Savinelli pipes.
Keep an eye out for the rest of the releases this year, and thank you guys for 25 years.
Yes, thank you for 25 years.